Intention is the quiet force that turns a wish into a direction. A wish says maybe. Intention says I will. A wish floats. Intention moves. A wish waits for the perfect moment. Intention creates the moment. That is the difference between people who dream and people who change. Many people have good ideas. Many people want better lives. Many people feel the pull of a stronger future. But wanting is not enough. Hoping is not enough. Thinking about change is not enough. The life you want begins to respond when your actions become clear, focused, and deliberate. That is what intention does. It gives your effort a shape. It gives your day a reason. It gives your choices a direction. It says this matters, and because it matters, I will protect it. When a person lives without intention, life gets loud very quickly. The morning starts with noise. The phone pulls attention. The mind jumps from one thought to another. The day gets filled with reactions instead of decisions. And by evening, the person feels tired without feeling proud. That is what happens when life is driven by whatever is easiest at the moment. But when intention enters the room, everything starts to change. You begin to ask better questions. What matters most today? What deserves my best energy? What can wait? What needs to be done first? Those questions do not just organize your schedule. They organize your mind. And when the mind is organized, life begins to become easier to shape. The world often teaches people to chase speed, but intention teaches them to chase meaning. Speed without meaning burns people out. Meaning without action stays trapped in the head. But intention joins the two. It says, move with purpose and move with care. Do not rush blindly. Do not drift blindly. Choose where your energy goes and then respect that choice. That is one of the strongest skills a person can build. Because once you can direct yourself, you stop feeling like life is happening to you. You stop being a passenger. You become the driver of your own days. That does not mean life becomes easy. It means you become stronger inside it. A lot of people are tired because their energy is being spent in too many directions. They begin the day already scattered. They spend their best focus on things that do not matter. They allow small distractions to grow into large losses. They say yes too often and no too late. They wait too long to begin, then rush too hard to finish. That cycle creates pressure. Pressure creates self-doubt. Self-doubt creates more delay. And delay makes the future feel farther away. Intention breaks that cycle. It says, I do not need to do everything. I need to do the right thing. I do not need to impress everyone. I need to stay aligned with my goal. That shift can save a life from endless motion without progress. Intention begins with honesty. You have to be honest about what you want. Not what sounds good. Not what others expect. Not what looks good from the outside. What do you actually want your life to become? A clearer income? A healthier body? A calmer mind? A stronger reputation? A more stable future? A life that feels less chaotic and more meaningful? Once you know the answer, intention begins to work. Because intention without honesty is just a performance. It looks determined, but it does not hold up under pressure. Honest intention can stand. Honest intention can be repeated. Honest intention can survive a bad day, a slow week, and a disappointing month. It does not disappear when feelings change. It stays. You cannot build a strong life from vague energy. You need specificity. You need a target. A target gives your focus a place to land. A target says, this is where my attention belongs. When you have no target, everything feels equally urgent, and that is how people lose time. They respond to every message. They react to every thought. They let every opportunity pull them in a new direction. By the end of the week, they have been busy but not productive. But intention narrows the field. It says this one thing matters right now. That does not mean other things are unimportant. It means one thing is most important in this season. And seasons matter. Your life is not one endless block of random effort. It is a series of seasons that ask for different forms of focus. Some seasons are for healing. Some are for building. Some are for learning. Some are for earning. Some are for rebuilding after disappointment. The problem is that many people try to live all seasons at once. They try to heal while panicking, build while distracted, learn while rushing, earn while doubting, and recover while pretending they are fine. That creates inner conflict. Intention helps you respect the season you are in. It helps you say, this is the season to strengthen my habits. This is the season to learn discipline. This is the season to repair my mindset. This is the season to create momentum. When you know the season, you know where to place your energy. And energy placed well becomes power. There's a quiet pain that comes from living without intention. It is the pain of unfinished things, unfinished goals, unfinished conversations, unfinished ideas, unfinished mornings, unfinished efforts. A person can carry that pain for years without naming it. They keep telling themselves they will get around to it later. But later keeps moving. Intention solves this by making the next step visible. Not the whole mountain, just the next step. That is how real change becomes possible. You do not conquer a mountain by staring at the top. You conquer it by taking the next honest step and then the next one after that. Intention keeps the next step in front of you. It says, do this now, then do the next useful thing, then repeat. That is how life gets rebuilt. Maybe you have been waiting for motivation to rescue you. But motivation is not always reliable. It rises and falls. It comes and goes. Intention is stronger because it is deeper. It does not depend on the mood of the morning. It depends on the decision you already made. That is why intention is so powerful. It keeps you moving when emotions change. It keeps you steady when the day gets hard. It keeps you loyal to your future when your present self wants comfort. The person who lives with intention does not need a perfect feeling to begin. They begin because they have already decided what matters. Decision becomes direction. Direction becomes action. Action becomes identity. That is the path. If you want to know whether your life is being shaped by intention or by impulse, look at your mornings. Look at your evenings. Look at your phone habits. Look at your work habits. Look at your spending. Look at your self-talk. Look at the moments when nobody is watching. Intentional people have rhythms that protect their future. They do not let every impulse become a command. They build simple structures that help them stay aligned. They're not perfect. They just keep returning. Returning to the goal. Returning to the standard. Returning to the reason. Returning to the work. That return is one of the strongest signs of growth. Because growth is not just about starting well. It is about coming back when you drift. Many people believe intention is only about big goals, but it is also about small choices. The way you wake up, the way you speak when you are stressed, the way you spend your first hour, the way you handle a bad mood, the way you recover after a setback. These small choices are not small at all. They are the daily proof of what you intend. If your intentions are strong, your habits begin to match them. If your intentions are weak, your habits expose that too. A person who intends to build a better life must be willing to let the little things matter. Because little things create patterns. Patterns create identity. Identity creates results. That is why intention changes everything from the inside out. A lot of suffering comes from living in contradiction. A person says they want peace, but keeps choosing chaos. They say they want success, but keep choosing delay. They say they want confidence, but keep feeding doubt. They say they want discipline, but keep feeding distraction. That contradiction drains the spirit. It makes a person feel divided. Intention resolves that division. It says, I'm going to stop living against myself. I'm going to choose in a way that matches my goals. That is not always easy. It asks for courage. It asks for patience. It asks for a person to stop pretending and start aligning. But alignment is where strength lives. When your choices match your values, you begin to feel more whole. When your actions match your goals, you begin to feel more capable. One of the greatest gifts of intention is that it gives your life a center. Without a center, everything becomes a reaction. You wake up and react. You answer and react. You scroll and react. You worry and react. You compare and react. But a centered person responds instead of reacting. They pause. They think. They choose. They act with direction. That does not mean they never feel overwhelmed. It means overwhelm no longer decides everything. That kind of steadiness can change careers, relationships, health, and self-respect. Because a centered mind is harder to shake. It can handle pressure with more grace. It can handle delay without falling apart. It It can handle rejection without losing all belief in the future. That is what intention can build. You may be in a season where your confidence has been damaged. Maybe you have tried and not seen enough results. Maybe you have been judged. Maybe you have failed in ways that still echo in your head. Maybe you feel like your life has not matched your effort. If that is where you are, intention can help you rebuild. Not by pretending the pain never happened. Not by ignoring what is real, but by giving you a way forward that is grounded and honest. Intention says, I may not be where I want to be, but I know where I am going. I may not have every answer, but I have a direction. I may not be fully ready, but I can still begin. That is enough to start again. Starting again is one of the most powerful acts a human being can choose. It means you're not trapped by what happened before. It means the past did not get the final word. It means the lessons you learned can now become fuel. A person with intention does not waste every hard moment. They learn from it. They use it. They let it sharpen the direction of their next effort. That is how pain becomes useful. That is how delay becomes development. That is how failure becomes information. Intention can take what broke you and turn it into something that strengthens you. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily, by helping you return to what matters. The hardest part of living with intention is often the beginning. At first, it feels slower than impulse. It feels more demanding than drifting. It feels less exciting than escape. But that is because intention is not built for quick thrills. It is built for lasting change. And lasting change always asks for a deeper kind of strength. It asks you to stay when it would be easier to quit. It asks you to think before you react. It asks you to build before you celebrate. It asks you to commit before you see proof. That is what makes it powerful. It moves you from emotional living to deliberate living, from random effort to meaningful effort, from surviving your days to shaping them. If you want your life to feel different, begin by making your intentions smaller and clearer. Not smaller in value, smaller in scope. One clear intention for the morning, one for your work, one for your health, one for your peace, one for your evening. Clear intentions are easier to follow than giant emotional promises. When people try to change everything at once, they often end up changing nothing. But when they choose one simple direction and repeat it, change begins to take root. That is how intention works best. It is not loud. It is not chaotic. It is calm, focused, and repeatable. It gives your life a line to walk on. And when the line is clear, you're less likely to wander. Intention also helps you stop living from the outside in. Too many people let the world decide how they feel, what they think, and what they do. A comment changes their mood. A delay changes their energy. A comparison changes their confidence. A mistake changes their whole week. That is an exhausting way to live. Intention flips that. It says, my world may affect me, but it will not define me. I will choose my response. I will choose my focus. I will choose my next move. That is strength. And strength is not the absence of emotion. Strength is the ability to move with emotion without becoming controlled by it. Think about how much of your day is lost to unintentional behavior. You may not notice it because the losses are small. 10 minutes here, 20 there, an hour of overthinking, another hour of avoidance, a morning spent checking instead of building, an evening spent numbing instead of recovering. These pieces add up. Then one day you look up and wonder why your goals still feel so far away. Intention is the answer because it makes the invisible visible. It lets you see how your time is actually being spent. It gives you a chance to adjust. An adjustment is powerful. A small correction made early can save months of pain later. That is why intentional people are often more effective. They catch the drift sooner. There is also a deep emotional reward in living by intention. It feels better to know why you're doing what you're doing. It feels better to finish a day with direction. It feels better to say no when something does not match your values. It feels better to resist an impulse that used to control you. It feels better to know you're not just drifting with the crowd. That kind of inner peace cannot be bought. It is built, and it is built one intentional choice at a time. Every aligned choice reduces inner conflict. Every aligned choice increases self-trust. Every aligned choice makes the next choice a little easier. This is how confidence grows from the inside, where it matters most. If your life has felt scattered, do not panic. Scattered does not mean ruined. It means there is work to do. There's a path to rebuild. There's a way to start bringing everything back into order. Intention gives you that path. It helps you simplify. It helps you focus. It helps you stop saying yes to what does not matter. It helps you guard the few things that really do. This can change your work, your body, your mood, your relationships, and your future. Because when your attention becomes deliberate, your life begins to reflect that. You begin to feel less pulled apart and more assembled, more whole, more steady, more ready. Intention is also about patience. Not everything changes in one leap. Some things require repeated alignment, repeated effort, repeated honesty, repeated courage. That is not a weakness. That is the nature of real growth. People often want immediate proof that their new direction is working. But some of the most important changes happen quietly first. Your mind becomes calmer before your life becomes easier. Your habits become cleaner before your results become obvious. Your confidence becomes stronger before the world notices. Trust the quiet stage. It is still doing important work. Intention helps you stay patient through it. A person without intention usually feels pulled by the day. A person with intention pulls the day into shape. That is a massive difference. One life reacts, the other leads. One life drifts, the other directs. One life gets spent, the other gets invested. This does not require genius. It requires a decision. A simple, honest decision repeated until it becomes natural. That is why intention is available to everyone. It is not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It belongs to the person willing to be deliberate. That means you can start now. You can decide now. You can move now. You can choose a better pattern now. Maybe the most important thing intention does is protect your future from the confusion of the present. Because the present will always have noise. There will always be pressure, messages, comparisons, and unexpected demands. If you let every part of the present decide your future, your life will never settle. Intention creates a stronger filter. It says, not everything deserves my attention. Not every opportunity is mine. Not every voice matters. Not every impulse should be followed. What matters is what aligns. What matters is what builds. What matters is what leads me closer to the life I said I wanted. When you live with intention long enough, your life begins to feel less accidental. You stop wondering how the day escaped you. You stop feeling like your energy was stolen by everything and everyone. You stop moving in circles. You start making choices that hold. And when choices hold, progress becomes visible. That is one of the greatest rewards of intention. It turns effort into direction and direction into momentum. Momentum is not flashy, but it is powerful. It carries you further than emotion can. It makes the next step easier. It reminds you that you are capable of shaping your life with purpose. So if you have been feeling stuck, do not ask first for more time. Ask for more intention, more clarity, more direction, more honesty, more courage to make your choices match your goals. Intention will help you create better mornings, cleaner decisions, stronger focus, and more peaceful evenings. It will help you stop wasting energy on things that do not matter and start spinning yourself on what does. That change can be the beginning of real progress. A life without intention often feels loud on the outside and empty on the inside. A life with intention feels quieter but stronger. It has less noise and more meaning. Less panic and more direction, less accidental living and more deliberate growth. And that is what many people are searching for right now, even if they do not say it out loud. They want a life that feels like theirs, a life they're actively shaping, a life that answers to purpose instead of impulse. That is possible. It starts when you stop asking life to guide you and start deciding how you will move through it. Every intentional choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every intentional morning says, I'm still building. Every intentional evening says, I am still protecting what matters. Every intentional pause says, I will not let impulse lead me today. Those small decisions may seem ordinary, but they are quietly powerful. They shape identity. They strengthen trust. They create stability. And stability is one of the hidden foundations of success. People often celebrate the breakthrough, but the real work happens in the repeated, intentional choices that made the breakthrough possible. The beauty of intention is that it does not require a perfect life to begin. It begins inside a real one, a messy one, a busy one, a healing one, a trying one, a human one. And that means you do not have to wait until everything's clear. You only have to decide to live with more clarity than before. You only have to choose better on purpose. You only have to keep returning to what matters. That is enough to start the shift. That is enough to become stronger. That is enough to change the direction of your days. So keep this close. Intention is not just a thought. It is a decision that keeps showing up. It is a standard. It is a direction. It is a quiet promise to your future. And when you live by that promise, you stop drifting and start building. You stop reacting and start leading. You stop surviving your time and start using it. That is how life changes. One clear intention at a time. The next step does not need to be dramatic. It only needs to be deliberate. Decide what matters today and let that decision shape your morning, your work, and your evening. Stay with it long enough for it to become your rhythm. That rhythm will build trust. Trust will build confidence. Confidence will build movement. And movement will begin to change your life in ways that chaos never could. If you keep choosing with intention, your future will stop feeling random and start feeling designed. That is the power of a mind that knows where it is going. It does not need every answer. It needs a clear purpose and the courage to follow it. Keep that purpose alive, and your life will begin to answer it. Each day can become a stronger chapter when intention leads the way. Intentional people also understand the power of closure. They do not let the evening disappear into confusion. They end the day with the same care they used to begin it. That matters because an unfocused evening often becomes a weak morning. When a night is filled with random scrolling, unfinished thoughts, emotional noise, and last-minute chaos, the next day starts heavy. But when the evening is designed with intention, the next morning has a better chance. You do not need a perfect night routine. You need a steady one. Put the loose pieces down. Review the day honestly. Ask what went well. Ask what needs correction. Ask what could be improved tomorrow. Then close the day instead of dragging it forward. That small act is powerful because it clears mental weight. It tells your mind that rest is allowed. Not because nothing matters, but because tomorrow will need you clear. The same is true for the morning. A good morning is not about being impressive. It is about being prepared. It is about greeting the day with direction instead of confusion. It is about deciding before the world decides for you. If the first thing you do is obey distraction, the rest of the day is harder. But if the first thing you do is choose your intention, the rest of the day becomes easier to manage. This is why the strongest people are often not the ones with the loudest energy. They are the ones with the clearest start. They know where to begin, and they begin there with respect. They know that a calm first hour can protect the next 10. If you want a life that feels stronger, stop treating mornings and evenings like leftovers. They are not leftovers. They are launch pads and landing places. They are the opening and closing of your daily story. Design them well, and the middle of your day becomes easier to guide. Leave them open to chaos, and the whole day starts to feel fragile. Intention gives these times shape. It says, this is how I enter the day, and this is how I leave it. That rhythm can heal a scattered mind. It can strengthen a tired spirit. It can restore confidence that was slowly leaking away. You may be surprised by how much of your life changes once you stop waiting to feel ready and start acting with intention anyway. Readiness often arrives after movement, not before it. Clarity often appears after you begin, not before. Courage often grows after the first step, not before. That is why waiting can become a trap. It makes you believe there is a future version of you who will finally have everything together and then start living well. But that version is being built right now by what you do today. Every intentional action is a brick. Every focused hour is a brick. Every wise decision is a brick. Keep laying them. Keep building. Do not reject the slow build just because it does not look dramatic enough. Slow building is still building. And a life that lasts is almost always the life that was built with care. So let your intention be simple enough to follow and strong enough to matter. Let it guide your mornings. Let it shape your evenings. Let it reduce the noise. Let it protect the future. Let it help you stop living on accident and start living on purpose. You do not need to become a perfect person to live intentionally. You just need to become a deliberate one. Deliberate in your choices. Deliberate in your focus. Deliberate in your rest. Deliberate in your recovery. Deliberate in the way you show up for your own life. That is where the power begins. That is where change becomes real. That is where you begin to feel that your life is no longer drifting, but moving. Keep going even when the progress is quiet. Quiet progress still counts. Quiet progress still changes you. Quiet progress still builds the strength that everyone else will eventually see. Do not measure your worth by how loud your results are today. Measure it by how faithfully you are shaping tomorrow. The person who lives with intention learns to respect hidden work, because hidden work is what makes public results stable. That is why this message matters. Not because it promises an instant life. It reminds you that a better life can be built by clearer choices, stronger focus, and a heart that refuses to drift forever. Make the decision. Protect the decision. Repeat the decision. Then let your days answer it. Every time you return to what matters, you become more powerful than your distraction, your doubt, and your delay. That is the quiet victory intention gives you, and it is enough to change your life. Keep returning, keep refining, and keep choosing the future that your best self has been trying to build all along, one clear decision at a time, until the new way becomes a normal way for you.